At Tetra Pak, we believe that business, government, and organisations must come together to find solutions to the world's challenges and help build a low-carbon circular economy. And progress starts with our people within our own operations. Chris Morgan, our cluster leader for processing solution and equipment, is here to explain the challenges and opportunities that we're exploring.
Hi, Chris. Could you tell us a bit about your role at Tetra Pak? What makes you most proud about the work that you do?
Sure. My role is I'm the cluster leader for PSE. I'm based in Singapore, and I'm responsible for the South Asia, East Asia, and Oceania markets. They run from the South Asian markets in India down to Oceania and New Zealand, and we've roughly got 26 countries in between. We have a budget of around 350 million euros, and currently we have 550 projects on the go to a value of about 700 million euros. So quite a lot of implementation going on. I've been in the company for 30 years, and I get most of my satisfaction out of developing people, seeing the people grow, and then becoming successful in their own rights. I do, however, still get a buzz out of selling the very large projects, and in particular beating our competitors. And, it's really a very special feeling when we complete a large project and everybody is safe and we have a very happy customer. Our Tetra Pak brand is very important to me, and I guess that's what makes me most proud to work for the company. Look, we're by no means perfect, and nor is anybody else. We're still leading in most areas, I would say, for Tetra Pak, and we need to keep on improving. We need to keep developing. We need to keep innovating, and we need to keep an understanding of what's happening both locally and globally. And we need to make this a great place to attract and retain people in our organisation, because that's really what the difference is.
Brilliant. Thank you. Could you tell me what have been the key achievements and the key challenges in Tetra Pak's operational health and safety journey in the last year?
Yeah, sure. For me, this is not a journey about this year. We've been working on OHS for many years. And one story that I can share is that about 10 years ago, one of our biggest customers in New Zealand, in Oceania, called Fonterra, they pulled us aside and they stated clearly that if we didn't improve our commitment to OHS, then Tetra Pak as a company would be excluded from the supplier list. This came as quite a shock, and obviously we had to change our behaviour. And, that started very much with a shift in culture. And what I say is OHS is not about ticking boxes, but it's a commitment to a belief in what we're trying to do to making people safe and healthy every day, everywhere. Personally, this is a journey with Fonterra. It really opened my eyes when it came to OHS, and I began to understand the impact of people losing their lives, being injured, and, the impact that had on individuals and companies who are in fact responsible for keeping those people safe. When it comes to our results as a cluster, we're doing reasonably well. We have a good maturity score of around about 3.4, and that's increasing by the quarter. The challenge that we have is that over a basket of markets, we have some very good markets, more mature markets that have been focusing on OHS for several years, like the markets in Australia and New Zealand. And then we have some less developed markets that are embarking on bigger and more complex projects, and they definitely have some more work to do. And, these are countries like India, the Philippines, for instance, and many of the markets across Asia that we're responsible for.
Okay, thank you. And are there any regional success stories that could show what you're talking about looks like on the ground?
As I said, I think we've had progress in many areas, but, some of the highlights for me, we're continuing our improvement in the maturity matrix. We have full-time OHS officers and coverage in most of our markets now, and And having, dedicated internal resource looking after OHS is very important. It's very difficult to build a culture when we have external people coming in, and that's not a good starting point for building culture. In the last 6 months or so, we've completed 7 site inspections, which is good. We've also completed a global assessment on one of the very big projects a cheese project down in Australia. That was the Stanhope project. I can just read some of the comments that came back from that assessment. It said that we had a very high level of awareness and knowledge of OHS, and that all the people interviewed and employees demonstrated activity risk assessment, permit to work, and incident reporting. So, very much following the rules when it comes to OHS. And the positive culture on site reinforced by communication and visuals, a strong community spirit, organised work site and control of work, and working with customer and other trades in a very complex site, and that the team understood the systems for working and delivering an organised and safe workplace. So, this is very pleasing. The efforts that we're putting into OHS, are coming back in the audits and the reports that we're seeing, and that we're very much developing a culture of OHS on these very big sites where we're responsible for up to 500 trades and sub-trades in the one ring fence, if you like. So very pleasing from my perspective to have this sort of development.